in for a treat because we have Rebecca Hession with us, who is going to be talking about 7 badass moves to gain some control. And I'm excited about hearing this. I love this woman. I appreciate her energy and her spirit. And she's just a very dynamic speaker and coach and consulting guru. So Rebecca, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you so we can get started.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Angie and I have been great partners for many, many years. So I appreciate being able to be a part of your group this morning. Happy Monday, y'all. Woohoo! I'm wearing a bra and a necklace. I just want to acknowledge that for a minute. That's a good Monday in this environment that we're in right now. So this is special for y'all. All right. So, and jeans too, as a matter of fact. This might be the most I've kicked it up. So you know how much I love you, Angie, if I got all that going on this morning. I'm like, damn girl, I'm killing it today.
I appreciate you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm excited to be here, and I would really like this to be as interactive as we can possibly make it, because I think what we all need now is connection and interaction more than we ever have. And so I'd love to just take a minute and just check in with y'all. How you doing? Either go off mute and let's just chat for a second and hear your voices, or give me a type in. How are you doing today? Let's just do on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being holy mother of God, and 10 being, you know what? I think I got this. I got my bra on too. How you doing? Oh, 9.75 from Sarah. Awesome. Who else? I'd love to hear, Sarah, what's driving your 9.75? That's good stuff. Christina's an 8. Awesome. So we've got some good energy going into this Monday. Anything specific that's driving these high numbers for you, Sarah and Christina? Let's be honest, a morning filled with amazing women and jazzed about being engaged with our own lives. That's super. I agree. So the fact that you're the type of women that said, you know what, I'm jumping on this thing on Monday morning at 9 a.m. says a lot about your mindset already. So again, that's awesome. Christina said, I get out to walk so I don't go stir crazy. Coffee helps. Girl, I went on this morning to my Instacart just to make sure I had 2 of my coffee orders, not the regular one. We cannot run out of coffee in this season. That's just not an option. Agreed. And we're going to talk about movement. So I'm with you big time. Awesome. So we've got a good group here. Let's dive in. I'm going to share with you some thoughts about neuroscience, mindset, and some practices that are more important now than they've ever been. But these are things that are going to serve you far past this season that we're in. So let me share my screen quick. All right. If anything, it's forced me to up my Zoom skills. So, we're all learning in this season, right? All right. So let's just talk about what the season that we're in, I refer to as swimming in the sea of uncertainty. And I want to do a bit of a compare and contrast to where we were when we thought our lives were quote unquote normal versus where we are now. So our brains process information and story. And when we just get bits and pieces of our story and what's happening in our lives, it creates uncertainty. And in our previous normal lives, we had the belief that are more certain than they probably really were. So let's think about that for a minute. In the old way of doing things, you had a routine, you had habits, You had things that gave you a sense of security. I get up at this time, I go to work at this time, the kids get on the bus, we eat dinner at this time. We lull ourselves into a sense of, because of our habits and our rituals and our routines, when in fact, we had just as much possibility of major disruption in our lives before, even as we do now. We could have gotten up one day and thought we had a regular day and had a car accident. We could have had an illness that hit. We could have had some major disruption. But in that place of habit and rhythm, we still feel comforted by our routines, which now we're in, we don't have habits and routines. Everything about our lives has completely turned upside down, other than maybe the coffee that we drink, right? But the time that we drink it might change. Everything is different in our lives. So while we've always lived with a fair amount of uncertainty, the massive amounts of uncertainty now have our brain in just scrambled egg kind of feeling. How does that resonate? Let me just take a minute and say, how does that feel? I'd love if you want to come off mute and say something. I can't see the chat right now. Okay, I can see the chat. And how does it feel when I say that? We used to be in uncertainty too, but now it's just like on steroids. Does that resonate? Okay, spot on, Christina says.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how brain science works. You absolutely hit the nail right on the head.
Yep, that's exactly what we're talking about. Because if we're going to gain about control, I use that term because we're craving control. But the fact is, we don't have nearly as much control as we think we do, even in quote unquote normal times. And so acknowledging that while it's disruptive and different where we're at right now, we can do this. And we've been doing it on a smaller scale. So now we're just going to be more intentional about. All right. As looking at the neuroscience of what's happening here, and we're looking at you and your story. You're seeing on the screen right now.
You.
Well, there you go. Not what I was thinking you were seeing. We'll go back here without the slides. Let me see if they even matter at this point. Okay, I do want to show you this quick. So, can you read that?
Yes.
What's it say?
The
brain fills in the gaps, processes information based on stories. And when we don't have all of the story, we can't leave it as a blank. Our brains have to fill it in. And so in now, our brains are trying to fill in the gaps. So we have the choice to be more intentional about what we fill in the gaps with. And there is a ton of uncertainty about how long this will last. Will we stay healthy? What's going to happen to my business? Things are real uncertainties. But what we have the ability to do is being, what do I know? There's a whole lot of things that I don't. What do I know? And we do this, we've always done this, but like I said, now it's heightened. And so what we do is we start to fill in the gaps and we assume stuff. And so what we have to do now is being intentional about, what do I know, and not allowing too much of the story to be filled in on things that we don't know if it's true or not. So assuming that this will end, assuming that we will weather this storm, assuming that things will work out, is going to serve us well in terms of our own mental health, as well as our brain doesn't know the difference between fashion. So when we start in assuming the best, our brain starts to go. And when we do that, we sleep better, we have less anxiety, and we just are able to make better decisions in the moment, which is really kind of how we're all living right now, which is moment to moment. So let me pause here and just get your thoughts and feedback on that.
Well, I mean, that's easier said than done, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, this takes more effort, diligence, and intention than we've ever had to muster, ever in our lives. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, this isn't Pollyanna woo kind of, I'm just going to ignore the facts. I'm just going to ignore. This is acknowledging that it's happening, how we're moving forward moment to moment. And not to look past, hey, or this moment to moment in shorter times than before. We were next year, next week, and now we're like, okay, it's months one, right? That here's another aspect all to be really, really okay with. Oh, shoot. I want us to be really okay with crap. Not crap. One moment. I want us to be the fact that our feelings are every, I don't know, what schedule are you on? 10 minutes, 20 minutes? Is life feeling like a,
Yes.
I hope so, because if it's just me, it'll be awkward. So I look at, I'm a profound optimist. It's just the way I'm wired. And I know if I'm feeling this roller coaster of emotions, everybody must be, because I can usually find something good in most every situation. And every single day, I allow myself to feel every one of these feelings. In these choices, we're devoid of our feelings. In fact, this is a real opportunity for us to feel all and then acknowledge them and choose how we're going to move forward to the next phase. So say that, and you think about feeling all the feelings. Let's compare that to the way that we lived before this season, because oftentimes, and I work with high achieving women as my job, we as high achieving women have been so busy moving from one thing to the next, we've rarely allowed ourselves to really just be in a moment and feel it. And so in this season, we don't have a choice. So as I'm saying that, how does that resonate? How are you handling that feeling all the feelings thing that we're going through right now?
Wine.
We're gonna who else? How are you doing with this time that you needed to or allowed yourself to?
I mean, I think that, as a business owner, a mother, I've got two small kids. I'm struggling with trying to find feelings because I'm trying to make sure everyone else is happy.
Yeah. I feel like I got a senior who lost her whole senior year, and those emotions,
Aw.
man, some they just take me down, and I got to go find a place to muster up to give back.
I think this is just a really great opportunity for us as a culture to give up that myth thing right now. Like we should be able to do all the things. Obviously, that's never been true, but this forces us to look that reality in the face and come to it.
I couldn't agree more. There are going to be some real shifts and unfortunately life lessons. And I know that sounds like an Instagram post, but it is true. In being intentional, decide, carry forward things in this end. So when I talk about feeling all of the feelings for ourselves and for the others in our family, in our homes, depending on got there, I have for those that are weathering this thing alone. Acknowledging our feelings is a beautiful thing that will swell moving into the future. And it's more than okay, our family members or whoever, to see you feel and not put ourselves into that busy state of mind where we don't allow us to feel, because our kids need to know that our spouses, our whoever you're living with, need to know that we're all feeling. And so acknowledge space and not just busying our way through it. Badass move in this season. Able to say to your kids, hey, I'm struggling right now. You know, let's talk and work. What can we do right now? And maybe it's, I'm going to go, I'm not opposed to a good cry in the shower. We have to be okay being humans. Much of our lives prior to this was the busy, almost treating ourselves like machines. The feelings gets us to our neck, being able to then know what to do. Sarah says, I think feelings are hitting the forefront because of the increased stress. Agreed. The prefrontal cortex of your brain is trying every second to process all this nutrition, and it hit right in that big emotional part of your, what do we do? What do we do? It's that fight or flight response. And it's in the back part of our brain, but all we're doing right now is feeling part of our brain. And Sarah also said, for this forever, we've been saying that we need more space for emotions, feelings in the workplace, and here's a chance to prove and coexist with strong professional results. Absolutely. The best thing that I've been do is say to my kids, and my kids are older and have like real conversations, but to my kids, okay, here's what I'm struggling with right now. What do you need? The opening up the conversation. If we've got younger kids, you think about how young kids respond under stress. They don't say things like right now. They do things that are just like, what is going on with my kids? Those are kids on stress, right? And so being able to give them the grace that they need to process, and part that I hope that we carry forward. All right, so badass moves. Christina says, you we're focused on the end of production model, time to the new models of production. Absolutely. I've been on a mantra and a just switch from habit to live in autopilot of habits. We don't for feelings and grace and about being intentional versus especially now. All right. So the next about is we're hardwired with unique gifts. Each one of us is completely different. And when we're under immense pressure and immense stress, our brains for the ability to thrive. Every day our wants us to survive and thrive. And the one way that is to continue to use our uniqueness. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be and it shouldn't be talking about how you're hardwired. My son is a musician. His stress is he's written songs since this happened. He is constantly creating because that's what his brain, and the way that he's serving with those gifts, putting things out on his Facebook page. He's using how he's hardwired and giving it. Now, gifts is I'm a connector. Like I care deeply about these kinds of connections through the things I did this weekend is I went on Twitter and I put a tweet out that said, if anybody's in quarantine, if there's women that are alone in this time, send me a direct message, give me your address. I'm going to send you a Badass Women's Council t-shirt, and we're going to set up a special Zoom call for us all to get together in a couple of weeks. And make masks. We're not going to start sewing. That's not my thing. I'm also not going to start cooking and taking it to people. That's not my thing either. So we have to think about what is the thing that we can do that serves our family or our neighbors or whatever it is that really taps into our unique talents, because that will calm our brain as well. We won't be trying to learn a new skill. Like if you say to yourself, okay, now I have to learn how to sew because I got to make masks. Your brain's like, what the hell are you doing now? We got enough going on. Now we're going to learn sew. Instead, we wanted, what would make me feel really good right now that I'm good at? Then find a way to do it. It may sound silly, but it won't feel silly to them because it's tick. So one of my good friends had a 40th birthday. I just did several things throughout the day, making her little videos and sending her things. That's authentic for me. When I say that, and I think you think about talents, does anything come up where you think is that? What comes to mind when you think about how you would serve with your uniqueness?
I'll talk. I'm not too tech savvy, so
you are, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm like you. I'm an optimist, and I think I am really interested in connections. I try to remember details of all my friends and their families and what's going on with them. So I'm trying to connect with little texts, emails, and now I'm even starting like letter writing. I'm just going to start letter writing, and I just try to think about things that are important in their life. So I'm a connectivity kind of person.
That's a perfect example.
And I think I'm really an optimist. So I'm also trying to be like a calming person. A lot of my friends right now, I'm in the health, friends are dealing with a lot of anxiety. They're just afraid for their life about what the rules are, what's changing. Information is not always correct, and we feel at risk. So I'm just trying to really, some of the people I don't, honestly, because it gets me revved up. So I'm trying to say things like, well, what is your biggest priority? Make your decisions based on what there's so much unknown information. Like you said, we can't feel this. We want to know. We got to have the facts of it now and tangible for us. So I'm trying to connect with people and just try to just be able to support and taking lots of walks with friends and me in the moment.
That is a perfect example. Perfect example. And us to honor our deal. But weakness, and the way I see it, he gave us these gifts So they're not trite, they're not simplistic. They are us giving of what it looks like. And so that's a beautiful thing. That's what it is about. It's not about the check hours worked. It's what do we have from a place. You said about boundaries. I don't watch the news anymore. I every single day I take a walk. Figuring out ways that you can get depleting yourself is really, really important. Who else has thoughts about the unique gift and talentically right now? Anybody else?
Can I add something else?
Yes, please.
I liked what you were saying about your son and his gifts. I love flowers. I can't grow a flower, but I have creativity. I like to floral arrange. I like to do different things with flowers. I'm kind of the flower person at my work. And so I have a lot of sources for flowers. And I've been kind of depleted that I didn't have any flowers in my house for the past couple of weeks because they all died. So I called my guy at Kroger and he put some flowers together for me. And so I'll bring my bouquets. Today, it gives me pleasure to make little arrangements. And I'm going to put them on the doorstep of people that I know really need them. So, I mean, and that gives me joy and that's going to fill me up. So I'm going to get my flowers.
Yeah, do. Ooh, that gets me excited.
This is what I'm going to work on today.
Oh,
These flowers. I could probably make about 10 arrangements.
Christina said that's so cool. That's it.
So that's me. I'm done talking.
I love it that you see, and it sounds like you were more of what we would call introvert, extrovert, more scale, right? You're like, I don't know technology. Us, what we need today by courageously doing that. Like, that's it. When we sit in our homes and we say, oh, well, that's silly, I'm not going to give them flowers, and we don't give of ourselves, we rob ourselves of the feeling of giving and being authentically providing, and we rob someone else from deriving joy from our gifts. And so our gifts are meant to be given whatever they are. Oh, I love that. I'll just turn this here and show you that. There's my Kroger flowers. And I get some, I haven't gone in the grocery store for, those are on a couple of weeks, believe it or not, they're doing well. But when I brought those flowers home, I've had them in my cart, I got a few looks from people and I thought there's never been a time when I want flowers more in my house. I'm typically grab some flowers at the weekly grocery run anyway, but yeah. So I love that you called your Kroger guy and got stocked up. I may have to make them myself.
I'm using the cart. I don't even go anymore, but I know the floral guy. Pick out some things you think I'd like. I'm going to pay you over the phone.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. That's a perfect example. I'm going to use that in like 3 more calls for that example. So the next thing about certainty is, and we've already covered it a bit, is creating the conditions to thrive, whatever that. It could be that taking a walk. When we get in nature, our brains start to align when we move and get our heart rate up, it releases endorphins, ways that we can create the conditions to thrive in this situation. So what you feed, we feed our optimism. If we feed these nutritious food, if we feed all of that has significant impact on our brain. There's no time to reinforce the need for habits than right now. When you're under stress and duress, this is the time. Now, I'm not saying 3 bags of Cheetos in my pants about perfection. The other is believe that there's a perfect way to. Can we just let go of the perfect boy? It's killing us. But go by my friend Erica Ballard, who's my health coach, business partner. Percent of the time, if you can be feeding yourself nutritious food, it's going to help how you manage your feelings and your emotion moving through this. That's science. So that's not shame game stuff. That's basic neuroscience. Better stuff we put in, back out. We talked about wine. Girl. I mean, I'm a multi-music festival day. I was a bartender. I know my way around a shop menu. If you want to have a good party, call me. I'm your girl. And we're already under stress and duress. We have to be, alcohol creates dysfunction in our neural pathway. And so it amplifies whatever we're already like. So if we have alcohol on a regular basis, control, right? If we want to gain some control, if we have alcohol on a regular basis, it actually prevents us from controlling our own emotions in a really healthy way. I'm not saying don't drink through quarantine. I'm just saying that be intentional. And is this serving, and how can I make sure that I'm controlling that